If you were to step into a time machine right now and travel back 50,000 years, you would expect to see a terrifying, unfamiliar world. But the first thing that would hit you wouldn't be the sight of giant predators or deep cave systems. It would be the smell. Would you be overwhelmed by the stench of unwashed bodies? Would ancient humans smell so terrible that a modern person would instantly gag? We often imagine our early ancestors as dirty, foul-smelling savages, covered in grime and reeking of sweat. But is this true? Did ancient humans actually smell bad, or is our modern understanding of hygiene completely misunderstanding how the human body was designed to survive? To answer this, we first have to look at our modern lives. Today, we live in a sterilized world. We wake up, stand under purified running water, scrub our skin with chemically engineered soaps, and apply harsh antiperspirants designed to physically block our pores from sweating. We mask our natural scent with artificial fragrances, vanilla, pine, lavender, and ocean breeze. We have become terrified of smelling human. To smell human in the modern world is seen as a failure of hygiene. It is considered deeply offensive. But this obsession with being completely odorless is a very recent invention. For 99% of human history, there were no hot showers, no chemical soaps, and no deodorants. There were only rivers, lakes, sand, smoke, and the natural biology of the human body. So if we took away all your modern soaps right now, and you lived outside by a campfire, would you smell like a monster? Science says no. In fact, your body would eventually reach a natural, healthy equilibrium. To understand ancient body odor, we need to understand why we smell at all. Human beings have two main types of sweat glands. The first are the eccrine glands. These are located all over your body, and they produce a thin, watery, salty sweat. This sweat is almost completely odorless. Its only job is to cool you down when you get too hot. But the second type of glands are the apocrine glands. These are located mostly in the armpits and the groin. These glands do not produce watery sweat. They produce a thicker, oily, milky substance. Here is the strange part. When this oily sweat leaves your apocrine glands, it is completely odorless. It does not smell bad at all. The smell only happens when millions of invisible bacteria living on your skin begin to eat that oily sweat. The bacteria consume the oils and release chemical byproducts as waste. It is the bacteria's waste that creates what we call body odor. So why did evolution give us apocrine glands that feed these bacteria? Why would nature intentionally make us smell? Anthropologists and biologists believe that this scent was not a mistake. It was a vital survival tool. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, on the hot African savanna, early humans were endurance hunters. They ran for hours under the burning sun to exhaust their prey. The oily secretions from the apocrine glands actually helped emulsify the watery sweat, spreading it evenly across the skin so it would not just drip off into the dirt. It acted as a natural cooling shield and a protective layer against the harsh elements. But the smell served an even deeper, more emotional purpose. It was an invisible language. Before complex spoken language fully evolved, early humans communicated through scent. Body odor carried crucial, life-saving information. By smelling another human, our ancestors could subconsciously detect if that person was healthy or sick. They could literally smell fear in the sweat of their companions. They could detect genetic compatibility. Most importantly, they could instantly recognize who belonged to their family and their tribe. The scent of a mother calmed a frightened child. The scent of a familiar group provided a deep feeling of safety in a terrifying, dark world. To an ancient human, the smell of their tribe was not disgusting. It was the smell of home. It meant, I am not alone in the wild. Today, when we smell body odor on a crowded train, we are smelling the scent of a complete stranger in an enclosed, unnatural space, and our brain interprets it as an invasion. But out in the open air, sitting around a campfire under the stars, that scent meant survival. And it wasn't the only smell they carried. Ancient humans likely smelled strongly of their environment. They smelled like crushed leaves, damp earth, animal skins, and above all, smoke.
Fire was the absolute center of ancient human life. Every night, humans gathered around the campfire for warmth, protection from predators, and storytelling. Wood smoke deeply permeated their hair and their skin. Interestingly, smoke is a natural antimicrobial agent. It kills certain bacteria and fungi. The thick, heavy scent of campfire smoke probably acted as the world's first natural deodorant, masking body odors and keeping biting insects and parasites away. They smelled like the earth and the fire. But what about physical dirt? Do they ever actually wash? Archaeology and anthropology suggest that ancient humans were not rolling around in filth by choice. While they did not have soap bars, they had access to water. Most human settlements were intentionally built near rivers, lakes, or coastal areas for drinking and fishing. Humans, like many animals, naturally groomed themselves. They likely rinsed off in streams, rubbing their skin with sand, clay, or ash from the fire to remove dead skin and heavy oils. Wood ash mixed with animal fat is actually the basic chemical recipe for early soap. They were keeping themselves clean using the earth itself. And what about their teeth? We assume ancient humans had rotting, painful, foul-smelling mouths, but dental records from ancient skulls tell a very surprising story. For tens of thousands of years, ancient humans actually had better overall dental health than people living in the 17th or 18th centuries. Why? Because their diet contained absolutely no processed sugar. They ate meat, roots, nuts, and highly fibrous plants. The heavy chewing of tough, raw foods naturally scrubbed their teeth clean, preventing the massive plaque buildup we see in modern agricultural diets. But they didn't just rely on chewing. Ancient humans actively practiced dentistry and oral hygiene. Skulls of Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens frequently showed distinct grooves worn between their teeth. These grooves perfectly match the shape of small twigs or bone fragments used as toothpicks. They were actively picking meat and fibers out of their teeth, just like we do today. Some tribes even chewed on specific antibacterial roots to freshen their breath and clean their gums. They cared about their mouths, and they hated dental pain just as much as we do. In fact, the history of ancient dentistry is much more advanced than we ever imagined. Just picture this. It's 59,000 years ago in the freezing Altai Mountains of Siberia. Inside a limestone cave known today as Shagirskaya, a Neanderthal is in agonizing pain. A deep infection has taken root inside one of their lower molars. The throbbing ache makes it impossible to sleep, impossible to eat, and in the harsh Ice Age environment, weakness can mean death. But this individual is not left to suffer alone in the dark. Someone in their family group steps forward to help. Using a sharp, tiny fragment of stone, likely jasper, this ancient healer does something absolutely incredible. They carefully and deliberately drill into the infected tooth. They scrape away the rotting tissue, opening the pulp chamber to drain the infection. This was not a lucky accident. It was intentional, invasive dental surgery performed tens of thousands of years before the invention of modern medicine. And the most amazing part? It worked. The tooth shows signs of smooth wear after the surgery, meaning the patient survived and continued to chew on that tooth for years. They understood pain, they understood healing, and they understood exactly how to take care of their bodies. So when we ask the question, did ancient humans smell bad? The answer depends entirely on who's doing the smelling. If an ancient hunter-gatherer time-traveled to a modern city today, they might be equally disgusted by us. They would smell harsh, stinging chemicals, artificial perfumes, exhaust fumes, and the strange, terrifying absence of natural human scent. To them, a massive crowd of people wearing strong deodorant might smell like a crowd of dead, sterile ghosts. They might feel entirely disconnected and deeply lonely. We have traded our scent of our humanity for the scent of factories and laboratories. We have entirely erased the invisible chemical bonds that used to tie us to our families and our environments. In our endless quest to become perfectly clean, we have sterilized our deep connection to nature. We no longer smell the changing of the seasons on our own skin. We no longer recognize the comforting, familiar scent of our own tribe. We have become hygienic, but we have also become isolated. Ancient humans did not smell bad. They smelled alive. They smelled of survival, earth, fire, and family. The next time you walk through a thick forest after the rain, or sit by a cracking campfire in the dark, and that deep, earthy scent fills your lungs, take a moment to breathe it in. That is the exact scent your ancestors knew for hundreds of thousands of years. It is the scent of the wild. And somewhere deep in your DNA, it is still the scent of home.